Where we are now is called the Rock Garden. He creates these places here that are a smaller scale than what he created in other places.
He is Frederick Law Olmsted, and this is the Brookline, Massachusetts home that became his hub of landscape design in the late 1800s. He spent the final 12 years of his career here, and his architectural philosophy was unwavering.
He wanted to create a natural environment with intentional design, but he wanted the person coming into that environment not knowing that it was designed. It was the art to conceal the art.
Olmsted is considered the father of landscape architecture in America, an endeavor he launched after a career as a journalist, after managing a gold mine, and after co-designing New York's Central Park. Jason Newman is the superintendent of the Olmsted National Historic Site.
We call this a place of places because what happened here was the design of so many other places around the country. We have a Buffalo Park System, we have the Louisville Park System, were created here within these walls.
Olmsted named the home Fairstead, and it contains roughly 1 million documents produced by Olmsted and his firm's successors, including his sons. They correspond to some 5,000 projects the firm ultimately produced, making parks a part of everyday living.
That helped to save the Republic during the time of social upheaval, during the Civil War. And so it was important, I think, for the country to come together through different means, but also through the creation of these large public spaces.
People watching may think, well, a park is a park. What's the difference?
We have the tendency to take them for granted and not realize that a decision was made that this land be protected and be for the public.
Karen Monty Brodick is president of the Emerald Necklace Conservancy. The necklace is a system of parks Olmsted spent nearly 20 years designing, beginning in 1878. It stretches from Dorchester's Franklin Park to the Charles River.
He really designed with nature. He used the landforms, the way that the water would flow, to create systems that were incredibly resilient.
Olmsted designed paths for people to escape the city's unrelenting grind. He crafted the Back Bay Fens to stem a public health crisis by countering the flow of sewage. He devised open spaces as a way to integrate people from different walks onto common fields. All sound familiar? It's why the Conservancy is one of a number of groups celebrating his bicentennial with the initiative Olmsted Now.
He sort of created an American vernacular, but we need to expand on it. There also are parts of the city that don't have as much green space as they should have. We want to make sure that we are uplifting folks that haven't had a voice or have been specifically kept out of decisions, spaces.
Olmsted was making parks for people. He was not making parks for elites.
Ted Landsmark's career bears some of the DNA of Olmsted's own, blending civil rights advocacy with decades-long work in architecture and urban planning.
Too often we find that people of large economic means are dominating the way we think about parks and open spaces. But what Olmsted did, in a very radical way in his time, was to say that parks and open spaces should be for everyone.
Boston is in the midst of another building boom. With that come rising home prices, gentrification, and segregation. So part of the Olmsted Now effort is to bring the city's traditionally overlooked neighborhoods together to plan the future of parks.
Olmsted intrinsically increased the diversity of the city and the way people come together to share their cultures and what they know of each other, to eat meals together and to play games together, and to come together in ways that are non-threatening.
It's why Landsmark says a very literal common ground is vital. And if past parks are prologue, they can be magical, too.
The joy of the Olmsted network, I think, is that in traversing it, one is constantly finding something new and something magical and something that inspires one to think very differently about oneself in a natural environment.